Hey there, it's Faith, and today I'm going to share with you how to crochet this strip cardigan. This is an easy pattern that uses scrap yarn, so you'll easily make it without buying new yarn. I also have the written pattern with different sizes from size extra small to size 5 extra large, and I'll add the link in the description box below for the free pattern. I hope you enjoy, and let's get started. For this tutorial, you'll need a 4.5mm crochet hook, a darning needle, pair of scissors, tape measure, and your scrap yarn. So for the scrap yarn, I'll be using this lightweight, so I'll have to double it to reach my gauge. For the gauge, 8 stitches and 6 rows measures 2 inches square. So go ahead and work your gauge and then come back. Let's start. So before we start our work, I'm going to show you the construction. So we'll do 2 front panels and then 1 back panel, and then work on the sleeves. So for the front panels, we're going to start from the bottom ribbing towards the shoulder, and then it will be identical for both sides. To calculate the number of stitches you need for the bottom ribbing or the foundation row, what you're going to do, you're going to go back to our gauge. Our gauge was 8 stitches, measures 2 inches. So how wide do you want your front panel to be? So for mine, I'll work with 9 inches for one front panel and then 9 for the other one. So to calculate that, 8 stitches measured 2 inches. So what about 9 inches? 9 times 8 divided by 2, which will be 36 stitches. So I'll need 36 stitches for one front panel. How did I come up with these 9? My bust measures 36 inches, so front, I'll have to divide it by 2 to get the measurement for the front panel and the back panel. So if I divide 36 by 2, I'm going to get 18 inches. And then the front panel will also be divided into 2 because we have 2 panels. So 18 divided by 2 will give me 9 inches. So my sweater or the cardigan is also not fitting because the back panel will be wider than the measurement of the 2 front panels, because I'll have an allowance for the neck area. So this neck area is 4 inches for the medium size. So for the back, I'll have 18 plus 4, which is 22. So to begin, I'm going to start with this color. This is the color I'll be using for bottom ribbing and the front panel edging or border stitches. So to begin, since I'm working a medium size and this is the front panel, you're going to make your slip knot and then chain 36. So 36 will be my foundation stitches. So chain 36 plus 2 inches for turning to row 1. So I'm going to have a total of 38 stitches. If you're working a size small or other different sizes, please check the free written pattern on our blog to give you the number of stitches you need for different sizes. So go ahead, chain 38 if you're working my size, the medium size, and then I'll meet you in row 1. So I have my 38 stitches or 38 chains. For row 1, you're going to yarn over, then skip 2 chains from the hook. So this is the first one and then this is the second one. And on this third chain, you're going to insert your hook in that third chain, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. Go in the next chain, work another double crochet by yarning over, pulling through 2, then pull through 2. Go in the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you want to repeat this until the end of your row. So at the end you should have 36 double crochet stitches. So at the end of row 1, this is how your work should look like. And for row 2, we're going to start our bottom ribbing. So chain 2, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Then turn your work. And for this first stitch, you're going to work a double crochet. And then in this next stitch here, you're going to work a front post double crochet. So insert your hook in the space between the first and the second stitch, then pull it through the space between the second and the third, and then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And for the next stitch, you're going to work a back post double crochet. So insert your hook from behind the stitch, the next stitch, that space between the previous and the next stitch, then insert it in the next space. You should have your stitch at the back of your hook, then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through the last 2. So work a front post double crochet in this next stitch, back post double crochet in the next. Just repeat that until the end of your row. So I worked my row until the second last stitch, and you should have a back post double crochet in that stitch. So for the last stitch, what you're going to do is just work a normal double crochet in that stitch. Do not work on this chain 2 here. Then chain 2, turn your work, and you're going to repeat our row 2 pattern. Work a double crochet in this first stitch, and then a front post double crochet in the next stitch, then a double back post double crochet in the next stitch, front post in the next stitch. So it is easier spotting the front post and the back post because the front post are in front. As you can see, they've come in front, and then the back post are at the back of your work. So next, work a back post double crochet and continue until the end of your row. Just repeat the row 2 pattern. So when you reach the end of your row, work a double crochet in that last stitch. Remember, the chain 2 was a turning chain. Do not work on that chain 2. Then chain 2 and turn your work. Repeat row 2 pattern, double crochet the first stitch, then front post double crochet the next stitch. So from this point, it's easier to spot the front post double crochets and the back post double crochets. So what you want to do is just work front post on each front post double crochet and a back post on each back post double crochet until the end of your row. So you're going to repeat that repeat pattern until your bottom ribbing measures 4 inches, or however long you want it to be. So I'll meet you when you're starting the main body of our front panel. When you're done with your bottom ribbing and your work measures 4 inches, in that last stitch, what you're going to do not finish it. After you've yarned and pulled through the first 2 loops and you have 2 loops on your hook, you're going to take your first color, or your second color rather, for the main body part, and then yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. Then chain 1, turn your work. You can now go ahead and cut your previous color and make a knot on those 2 colors, or the 2 ends, and proceed to our first row of the body. So after chaining 1, add another 1, so chain 2, then yarn over, insert your hook on that first stitch. You can work on this loose end, then work at half double crochet. Go ahead in the next stitch and work a half double crochet, then continue by placing 1 half double crochet in each stitch. So just go ahead until you reach the end of your row, and at the end you should make sure that you have 36 stitches. So when you reach the end, this is how your first row will look like, and you should ensure that you have the same number of stitches as your bottom ribbing. And then chain 2, turn your work, half double crochet in the first stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, then continue placing half double crochet on every stitch till the end of the row. So I went ahead and finished my first 2 rows of the main body part. So what you're going to do, you're going to repeat that row repeat pattern by chaining 2, half double crocheting from the first stitch all through to the last stitch. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so you want to repeat that row pattern until your first color ends, or until you reach your desired length or desired height for that first color, and I'll meet you when you want to change to the next color. So I went ahead and finished my 18 rows of the half double crochets, and this is how the work looks like so far. I still have my yarn, but if you don't, I'm going to show you how to change colors. So I've decided to change color at the end of this row, and still I have more yarn. I'm just going to cut my yarn, but I'm not going to leave any loose ends. So this is what you're going to do. Cut your yarn at any length, but ensure you leave some considerable length, and then grab your next yarn. So you can see my next yarn is so small, it won't finish the 18 rows. So this is what you're going to do. Whether your yarn ends at the middle of the rows or at the end of the rows, you don't have to work with all the 18 rows before changing a color. So grab your new yarn, and what you're going to do, you're going to take your new yarn and tie a knot around the yarn that you're working on. So you're going to tie a knot on this first or the second color, just a simple knot, and then fasten it. And on this the end of your working yarn, you're going to wrap it or tie a knot around the new color. So just go ahead and tie a simple knot. And then the next thing you're going to do is to draw these yarns, or you pull them until the knots meet. Yeah, until the knots meet. So this is how it should look like. And when you cut these loose ends now, your yarn won't come off. So just go ahead and cut these shorter ends. And you've attached your yarn in a secure way, it won't come off. So just go ahead with your row stitches. Chain 2, turn your work half double crochet in every stitch. So just go ahead, work half double crochet until the last stitch in that row. Turn your work, chain 2, half double crochet in each stitch until the end, and then I'll meet you when you're changing colors in the middle of the row. If this yarn ends in the middle of the row, I'll show you. You just do the same thing that we've done attaching this new color. So I'll just show you when it ends, and then you can proceed until you have your number of rows for the front panel. So my new yarn has ended after 7 rows, and it couldn't be enough to finish that last row. So we're going to attach a new color here where it has ended. We're just going to repeat the same thing that we did when we're changing colors on this part. So I'll just show you one more time what you should do. Take your new color and then tie a knot around your old color, or the color that you're working on. Make sure that the knot is tight, and then with your previous color you want to tie it also around the new color. and tighten that knot. Then pull the 2 yarns and let the knots meet. And then at this point you can cut the shorter ends. So you've added a new color. So go ahead and then continue with your new color and just go on until you have a total of 72 rows from this part. So 72 rows of the front main body part, and then you'll bind off your work. I'll meet you when you're binding off the work, and then you can make another front panel. Then we work on the back panel and the sleeve panels. So when you're done with your 72 rows, this is how your front panel will look like. So what you're going to do at the end of your row, after working that last half double crochet, you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. So chain 1, cut your yarn, and leave a long tail for joining the shoulder seams. So when you're through with your front panel, what you're going to do is just make another one exactly like this one, and then we'll start working on the back panel. So for the back panel, we're going to start with our border color, or the bottom ribbing color, which is this one. It should be the same as the one you used for the front panels. Don't change it. We're only changing the main body of our sweater. So make a slip knot. Sorry. And then for this panel, you're going to chain 88 for the medium size. So 1, 2, 3. So just go ahead and chain 88, and then I'll meet you on row 1. So I went ahead and did my 88 chains, and then at this point you're going to chain 2 for turning your work. So chain 2 and then yarn over, skip those 2 chains that we've just added, and then on this third chain you're going to go in that stitch and make a double crochet. This chain to here does not count as a stitch. Then double crochet the next stitch and continue placing 1 double crochet in each stitch until you reach the end of your row. So at the end of this row you're going to have 88 double crochets. So when you reach the end of your row, work double crochet in that last chain stitch, and then you're going to chain 2. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Turn your work, and then for this second row, which is going to be our repeat row, we're going to start by working a double crochet in this first stitch. So go through those two loops, work a double crochet, and then the next stitch you're going to work a front post double crochet. So what you're going to do, you're going to yarn over your hook and then insert your hook between your first and the second stitch and pass it at the back of your next stitch through the next space. Then yarn over, pull through. Pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, then pull through the last 2 loops, and then yarn over, and in the next stitch you're going to work a back post. So pass your hook from behind that stitch and then pass it through the next space or between the next stitch, then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and continue working a front post in the next stitch and a back post in the next stitch, and repeat this until you reach the last stitch or the second last stitch in your row. So I'll meet you when you have only 1 stitch remaining at the end of the row. Just repeat the front post and the back post, alternating them after every stitch. So I went ahead and finished my 10 rows, and on this 10th row, what you're going to do on the very last stitch, you're going to work with your yarn And then in order to finish this last double crochet with yarn over and pull through these two, we're going to yarn over our next color. So yarn over and then pull through those two loops. Then chain 2 and turn your work. So for the first row of our main body, we are through with our bottom ribbing. You can now cut this previous color. And then for this first row and every other row of the main body part, you're going to work half double crochet in every stitch. So insert your hook in that first stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook in that first stitch, yarn over, pull through. When you have 3 loops, you're going to yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops. And then do that for every other stitch. Go in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the 3 loops. And repeat this to the end of your row. Just repeat that half double crochet in every stitch through to the last stitch. Work a half double crochet in this last stitch, chain 2, turn your work, half double crochet in every stitch. And remember, if you're working with 88 stitches, every row should have 88 half double crochet stitches. So go ahead and do that until you have a total of 72 rows. So change colors as we discussed in the front panel or as you desire. And then when you're through the 72 rows, I'll meet you when you're working on the sleeves. So when you're done with your 72 rows of the back panel, you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn, and then proceed to the sleeve panels. So just leave a longer tail. It can help in joining the shoulder seams. So once the back panel is complete, we're going to the sleeve panels. So for the sleeve panels, you're not going to work the cuff ribbing. What you're going to do is just going to work one rectangle for the sleeves and then fold it in half and seam it at the side. So what you're going to do, you're going to grab your yarn, make a slip knot, and then for this size, the medium size, you're going to chain 52 plus 2 chains. So you're going to chain 54 chains in total. So go ahead, chain 54, and then I'll meet you in row 1 of the sleeve panel. For row 1, you're going to skip the first 2 chains. Then on this third chain, you're going to turn it and work on the back bumps. So insert your hook on the third chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops. So that's our first half double crochet. Go ahead and work a half double crochet at the back bump of each chain. So at the end of this row 1, you should have 52 half double crochets. At the end of row 1 of our sleeve, we're going to chain 2, turn. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Half double crochet in this first stitch, going through both loops, half double crochet in each stitch until the end of your row, and at the end you should have the same number of stitches as row 1. So row 1 we had 52, row 2 you're going to have 52 stitches. Remember, this chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So go ahead, finish your row 2 and then repeat that row 2 pattern until you have a total of 58 rows up. So I'll meet you at the end of row 58. After working your 58 rows of the sleeve panel, you're going to chain 1 and then cut your yarn. Now go ahead and work another sleeve panel exactly like this one, just one big rectangle, and then we'll join the panels together. To join the seams or the panels together, we're going to start by joining the shoulder seam. So grab your back panel and then one side of the front panel. The last row of your panels was done on the right side. So this is our right side of the back panel. Take the right side of the front panel and face the right side of the back panel. So this is the wrong side and this is the wrong side. Then grab your darning needle and feed your yarn. So at this point you're going to join the shoulder panels with a whip stitch. So what you're going to do, insert your needle through both stitches or both loops of your first stitch, and then both loops of the first stitch on this other side, and pull through. Then from here, go in the next stitch, insert your hook, pass it through both stitches, and then pull through. And repeat this for every stitch until you finish the shoulder panel on this side. So I want to show you what happened here. My yarn at the end of my back panel, the one I was using to join the two panels together, was not enough to finish that seam. So what I did, I picked this other side, I counted the remaining stitches on both sides, and then I joined it from that stitch. So I whip stitched it also this way. When I was done with the seam, I went ahead and weaved inside my work just to hide this loose end. Then I'll go ahead and just cut my yarn and proceed on this other side. To join this other side, you're going to do the same thing as we've done on this previous side. Grab your front panel, and then we ended on the right side, so this is our right side. Turn your work so that the wrong side faces out and the right side faces the right side of the back panel, like this. Then you're going to take this end that we left, feed our needle, and then start joining it. So insert your needle on the first stitch from both sides. Then yarn over, pull through. You want to go ahead and go back in the same stitches just to fasten off this first stitch. Then proceed to the next stitches. So also go ahead and whip stitch all the stitches until the end. If your yarn is not enough, you're going to work until you have a roughly 5 inches of tail, and then weave that end inside your work. Then grab another yarn and finish the remaining seams. When you're through with the shoulder seam, this is how it will look like on the wrong side, and then this is how it looks like on the right side. I don't mind it, I like it. To join the sieve seams, what you're going to do, or mark the 26th stitch with the first row of the front panel, and then the 27th stitch with the first row of the back panel. Then mark where your sieve panels joins comfortably with the front panel and where it joins comfortably with the back panel. For this specific one, it joins on the 18th row of both front and back panel. So what you're going to do, you're going to whip stitch the sleeves to our body seams from the 18th row of the front panel to the shoulder panel, then continue from the shoulder panel to the 18th row of this back panel. When you're done, do the same for the opposite sleeve. When you're through with the sieve seams, what you're going to do, you're going to fold the seams, still working on the wrong side. Fold the seams in half, or fold the seams in half like this. Then attach your yarn. If your yarn here at the end is so small, you're going to grab a new yarn, feed it in your needle, and then start by joining it with a whip stitch. So I prefer you use the same color as this first row, but if it's over, just pick another color. You're going to join them together, leave some tail for weaving it in at the end, then go back in those same stitches and lock that stitch. Now you can go ahead and join the seams together, going through the half double crochet rows. So that is what you're going to do. Just whip them together until you reach the armpit hole here. If you still have your yarn, you'll turn to the side seam and continue by joining the side seams together up until the bottom ribbing. So this way you're going to finish your seaming, weave in all the loose ends, and repeat the same for the other side. When you're done joining all the seams, you're going to turn your work on the right side. This is how the seam should look like. It's almost seamless. So you want to ensure that the seam on the wrong side is tighter. Don't make them loose. Then we'll proceed to working the front border, or the border for the front opening. We'll use the main color, or the color for our bottom ribbing. To begin, you're going to make your slip knot, then insert your hook, working on the right side. This is our right side. You want to go in that last, or the first double crochet row, insert your hook in the very last stitch, yarn over, pull through, work a single crochet, then single crochet around that double crochet stitch also. So you have 2 single crochets around this double crochet stitch. Go in the next double crochet stitch, work 2 single crochets around it, 2 single crochets around the next double crochet, and repeat this until you're done with your bottom ribbing, working 2 single crochets around every double crochet. When that is done, you want to go, or you want to proceed in the half double crochet rows, and to do that you're going to go in this first half double crochet stitch and work 1 single crochet, and then in the next half double crochet stitch you're going to place 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, 1 single crochet in the next half double crochet stitch, and 2 single crochets around the next half double crochet stitch, 1 in the next and 2 in the next, 1 in the next and 2 in the next. So repeat this until you're done with your first side. When you reach the neckline, you're going to go and work 1 single crochet in every stitch around the neckline. Turn to this other side, start with 1 single crochet around that first double crochet, half double crochet stitch, then 2 in the next, 1 in the next, 2 in the next, up until you reach the next bottom ribbing, and then proceed by placing 2 single crochets around each double crochet stitch till the end of your row. So I'll meet you when you're done with that first row. After working to this other side, if you're counting your stitches, you should have 232 stitches, 20 for this bottom ribbing, and then 20 for the opposite bottom ribbing, 108 for the body part of the front panel up until the shoulder side. You should have 108 stitches, and then 16 for the neckline, 108 for the opposite side. In total, you should have 232. So for row 2, you're going to start by chaining 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Yarn over, turn your work. On the very first stitch, you're going to work a double crochet. Then yarn over, double crochet in the next stitch, yarn over, double crochet in the next stitch, and repeat this until you finish the 232 stitches. So at the end you should have 232 double crochets, and then we'll start our ribbing in row 3. When you're through with the double crochet row, you're going to chain 2, well, turn your work, then chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so you're going to go in the first double crochet stitch, then make a double crochet, and in the next stitch you're going to work a back post, a front post double crochet, then back post in the next stitch, front post double crochet in the next stitch, back post double crochet in the next stitch. So continue alternating between a back post and a front post until you reach the end of the row.